Are you a sad individual living under a Parisian opera house and dropping chandeliers on people's heads, which are fun? Well, you may want to stop because that's a crime and get yourself a podcast. How do you do that? Easy. It's with Anchor. Anchor is a totally free app and website, and you can record from your phone or your computer. You don't need fancy smancy equipment. Seriously, I have recorded podcasts from my bathtub while I was bathing. Anchor is free and super easy to use. Anchor has really simple podcasting tools. You sign up and then you start podcasting. It really is that simple. Within an hour of starting my podcast, I was already distributed on Spotify. Now I'm on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and Radio Public. So look for the app or the website. The website is anchor.fm, and the app, just go to your friendly local app store and look up Anchor. That's ANCHOR. Happy podcasting! Hi, welcome to the Kawaii Slutty Bartfast, the podcast where I discuss book, music, and games, and pretty much anything else I feel like, because apparently I really like talking to myself. Welcome to the OC, bitch. Today on the podcast, we'll be discussing The Accomplice, which is Season 2, Episode 10. Alrighty, Roo, finally, hopefully this recording will stick. This is the fourth time I have recorded this. One of the times I just didn't like the way it sounded, so... And then, I tried to have a guest, but that didn't work. And then another time my throat was really sore and my voice kept on going out. So that was delightful. So, on with the podcast. So we open up with Seth, Zach, and Ryan talking, and he wants to get back at Alex, and Zach gives some really bad advice about like going to her place and being like, I want to be with you. The problem with that is that she knows that. Like, she knows that Seth wants to be with her. She's just not into it right now. So, not really great advice, Zach. So, on with to Zach. Zach and Seth start working on a comic book. And they're going over drawings, and it's really cute. And oh, excuse me, that was yucky. So anyway, Summer and Zach are going out on a date, and she comes, and then she goes to back upstairs to get something that she lost, which, seriously, I just rewatched it and I forgot what she was going to get. But anyway, so she finds Seth's sketchbook, which she spent a lot of time over the summer in Portland drawing her, and she was very flattered, and it was really cute, and I'm glad that that's nice. See, I forgot about a lot of these because I haven't watched them in like forever. But anyway, so that's the Seth, Summer, and Zach. For some reason, I keep on wanting to call Seth Ryan, and I don't know why. It just, for me, Ryan is easier to say than Seth, which is weird because it's 2 syllables, so it shouldn't be that way, but it is. Anyway, so Lindsay wants to get to know Caleb, who, if you remember, is her biological father, and yeah, it doesn't go too well. So both Ryan and Kirsten tell Caleb that, hey, if he wants to get into contact with Lizzie, he's going to have to make the first move. And Caleb is just horrible as usual, just a horrible, horrible person. He ends up inviting Lindsay to dinner, and she's like, hey, you know, she tells Ryan that I want you to be here with me. And he's like, okay, even though he hates me, which, awkward. Yeah, oh, it gets so much worse. So basically, he accuses Ryan and Lizzie of trying to blackmail them. So things are not good for that father and daughter relationship. Very sad. So, on to Sandy and Kirsten. Sandy is looking for a new office since he basically quit working for the big bucks, and he finds one on the beach. And then his old mentor from law school calls him, and it turns out that the mentor, whose name is Max, is dying of like several strokes and wants to find his long lost daughter Rebecca, who has been accused of setting a lab on fire and killing a man. Yeah, it gets a little complicated. And so Sandy goes about trying to find her, and Kirsten gets a little jealous of a relationship that happened 20 years ago, but I kind of understand it because Sandy and Rebecca had like a lot in common, like more than Sandy and Kirsten did. So I can understand like feeling a little insecure about when the person you love is like all about finding somebody they had so much commonality with, even though it was 20 years ago. But I mean, then again, like saying that he's in love with Rebecca is kind of ridiculous because if he was, he would be in love with the memory of Rebecca, not the actual person. Because hopefully things would have changed a great deal in 20 years. Oh, and there's some nice foreshadowing of Kirsten's drinking, so something to look out for. It's funny, but I didn't notice like all the foreshadowing about her alcoholism until like rewatching the show, and it isn't subtle. It really isn't. So anyway, we get to the Marissa and Alex story, and I know people hate the way that relationship turned out, but man, when they get together, they are so adorable and precious, and I love them. And Marissa gets a tattoo, and let's see. Marissa gets a tattoo. Oh, yeah, duh. Before she got the tattoo, they go to Jody's place and try and get Alex's stuff because Jody apparently stole the heart necklace that she and Alex got together. So she went and get this stuff, and Jody almost convinces her to stay the night. But our girl Marissa comes through and she's like, no, she's my girlfriend now. It's like, oh, my heart, it melts. But, I mean, I know that people have an issue with the way Alex's character turned out. And in terms of representation, it's not great. It really isn't. Because, like, so far, like, the only openly gay characters I remember, like, as of episode 10 of season 2, are Luke's dad, who is cheating on his wife, and Alex, who basically turns into a jealous psycho ex. And sorry if I'm spoiling things, but the show is over 10 years ago, so if you haven't seen it, why are you listening to this podcast? Don't get me wrong, you are more than welcome to listen to this podcast. I welcome you with open arms. But really, that's a little strange. But anyway, about representation. So, there are so few queer characters in the show that, like, having that happen isn't like the greatest when that's pretty much all you're seeing. Like, if there were more queer characters, I'd be cool with it because it would be like, oh, well, that's just people. But when there's only two, that kind of thing can seem a little pointed. So I totally understand that complaint. It's kind of like with Lexa on the 100. Like, yes, that's a show where basically everybody dies and no one is safe. That's fine. But I think more people took issue with, one, the way she died. The same way people took issue with Charlie's death in Supernatural, actually, now that I think about it. Wow, that's interesting to think about. I would like to explore that more in a later podcast. But anyway, that's not important. The important thing is that, yeah, I could kind of understand, like, in retrospect, it's not great. But, seeing Misha Barton and Olivia Wilde just being adorable together is just, it's too precious for words. I love it. Now, time to talk about pop culture reference and how things circle back to comic books in this episode. The first one that I noticed was Seth makes a reference to the movie Summer Lovers, which involves Peter Gallagher in a threesome, which, when you think about it, is kind of upsetting because Peter Gallagher plays Sandy Cohen, who is Seth's father. So basically, he's talking about watching a movie in which his fictional father gets it on. Okay then. Yeah, just a little bit awkward. So, let's see, is it Michael Cassidy? I keep on wanting to say his name is Michael Cassidy. I know his actor's last name. Wow, Sarah, that's great. I know his last name is Cassidy because I remember people with the last name of Cassidy because I have a cousin named Cassidy. So that name sticks out to me. But anyway, the actor, the guy who plays Zach, he was Jimmy Olsen in Batman vs. Superman. So that's interesting. Remember when Seth in the episode was like, oh, comic book movies suck. Adam Brody was Freddy in Shazam in the DC Universe movie. So, yeah, that's another thing. And, of course, I mean, I'm sure most people know this by now, but Ryan Atwood played Jim Gordon in Gotham. When they were talking about fathers, Jim Gordon's father was a member of the Court of Owls. So, I mean, it's funny because, like, three of those things, like, they should not have connected because they happened, like, so far down long after the show was done filming. But I thought it was a fun thing to mention, and, you know, maybe somebody would enjoy this as much as I did. Anyway, that is the ending of this show. So, have a happy day, keep it fruity, and don't forget to be kind.